Many keys to success, but the most important probably is to show up for others, to show up for yourself. And maybe more important than showing up for others is to show up for yourself. We tend to be so busy helping others and doing whatever things we want to do in life that we don't have time for the most important person in our life, and that is ourselves. Self care can be the most daunting thing that we want to perceive, we want to do in our life. But then in reality, it is the most important thing. But then, who has time for all this? There are so many other things that I have to do, or we need to do, or there are so many things that we need to attend to. Where do we have time for ourselves? Frankly, there is no time, especially if you have too many people in your life, and everybody has too many people unless they are isolated sitting somewhere in the mountain, and that's totally not possible if you are doing that right now. And the most important part when it comes to self-care is to detach the notion or the idea that self-care is selfishness. A lot of people don't work on their self-care or don't have a self-care routine because they it's ingrained in their mind that being having a self-care routine or taking time for themselves is like being very selfish, and that is totally not true. Maybe it is not completely false, because you will have to take out some amount of time for yourself, so you are taking some amount of time from others away because you want that time for yourself. And that is the reason why it will definitely be more like I am taking someone else's time. And trust me, if you want to build a self-care routine, it is not at all possible being selfish. You literally have to help 10 other people so that they can bring that time to yourself, that you can get into a self-care routine. And let's say a working mom or a father who has so many other things to do and attend their kids, take so many responsibilities of work as well as family as well as relations. So there is so much of pressure on a single man or a woman that they are continuously having to take from in and around. Now this might not be true for a person who is not who doesn't have other responsibilities. Like in my case, I'm single and I have a lot of time for myself. I can take out a lot of time. Even after being single, I had to go through a process of a pattern where I understood that self care is important. Frankly, up till COVID and after later COVID of 2 years, I was so busy and so focused on me, myself, and how I will make more amount of this, more amount of ideas coming into on ground, doing more projects, that I hardly took any time for myself. And that's when I started working on my own self-care routine. And it is totally not possible if you are not building a community around you which is helping you to take that self-care routine forward in your life. And that is the reason why it becomes very important that you have a proper community around you which helps you to build that self-care routine. Like it might be the maid who comes to your house, who is taking care of other stuffs that you are spending less amount of time on, maybe washing utensils or doing the work that you don't want to do. It might be a person who is taking care for your kids when you want to take out some time for yourself. And it becomes that we wait so long that we need to put that amount of time on ourselves is really surprising, because unless and until an alarm rings, we will never focus on ourselves. As I said, in my case, I have no other responsibility than myself. Even after that, I rarely had time for myself and to use a self-care routine or build a self-care routine which would help me to get what I wanted in my personal life. Mostly self-care can revolve around different things like your spiritual health, mental health, or your proper physical health. And from in my case, I was totally not putting that much amount of time in my physical health, which was really required. It was not like I was completely, unhealthy. But somewhere around after like an year of COVID and everything, I came to know that, there are a couple of things in my health, like related to my sugar levels and everything, that I need to keep a proper check. And for that, I really have to build a self-care routine where I am checking the amount of sugar level, what exactly is happening currently with my body, and how I can build a routine where I'm putting and 45 minutes of exercise, my reading related to what I'm experiencing, and how I can keep that time for myself, particularly going outside in those particular times as and when needed, because most of my work is online coaching, online, everything is online basically. So I rarely have an opportunity to get out. So I ensure that I go out, I take that much time out for maybe sunbathing, which sounds really weird. In India, you just go out and you get a sunbathe, you don't have to do anything else. But in my case, it's a very rare thing. I rarely get sunlight, and that is the reason why I make a point that in whole day I ensure that at least 5 to 10 minutes of sun I get, mostly in the morning hours. I ensure that it happens to me, or it becomes a part of my self-care routine. Like I read for 1 hour, or I go to exercise for 45 minutes. So even after that, I there is a lot of time where we can do a lot of work. But when we look at only as work as the most important thing, we will see that, I am putting so much amount of time in my work that I don't have anything left. And especially once you are putting work first and yourself later, most probably the time never comes for yourself. And that is the reason why it is very important to mix it properly and merge your self-care routine in your working style, so that it does not become a burden to you. Like just drinking water every 1 hour, or every 40 minutes, or every 30 minutes, whatever might be the thing that is helpful for you to drink water. Now that is not a big deal. Everyone who is working can just have a sip of water as and when needed. But it's such a difficult thing. We literally forget that for hours. Unless and until we feel thirsty, we are not able to distinguish between thirst and hunger. And that is where that till that time we put it off. And I guess that is somewhere we really need to work on. Take out time for ourselves and focus on ourselves. Thank you.